أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Previously we examined the passive verb al-fi'l al-majhul or al-mabni lil-majhul when it comes to al-fi'l al-madi, the past tense verb. So to refresh our memory, if I have a verb, a past tense verb that states mana'a, which means he prevented. If I want to turn this into a passive verb and say it was prevented, how do I change a past tense verb, fi'l madi, into a passive verb, which is al-fi'l al-majhul? What do I do to it?
You change the harakat.
You change the harakat. The first letter, instead of having a fatha, will acquire a what? A dhamma. And then the second letter, kasra here, and the last letter must be a fatha. So mana'a becomes muni'a, kasara becomes kusira, and so on and so forth. Akala, ukila. This doesn't only apply to the past tense verb. The same concept can be applied to fi'l al-mudari', to the present tense verb. So for example, what is the present tense verb of mana'a? Make that mudari'. What will you say? Mana'a means he prevented. Make it present tense. Yes, I'll show that on the board. Let's just get the concept. So mana'a means prevented. If we want to make it mudari', present tense, what does it become? Yamna'u. Right? We discussed that before, how to make a verb from past tense to present tense. Fa'ala yaf'alu. So mana'a yamna'u. Okay. Yamna'u means to prevent. Now, in the present tense. If I want to make this also passive, meaning I want to state the following: it is being prevented, but I'm not stating who the subject is. Or another example, yaksiru. Yaksiru means to break. If I want to say it is being broken, is it possible to make a fi'l mudari' passive? Yes, it's possible. Just like we did with the fi'l al-madi, you can do the fi'l al-mudari' as well. So for example, we had mana'a. If you make it majhul, it becomes muni'a, passive. That's the past. Now we also have for the present, yamna'u. If you want to make it passive, you put a dhamma on the first letter, just like we put a dhamma on the first letter for fi'l al-madi. And then the second letter will have a sukoon, and then a fatha, and then a dhamma. So basically, for the fi'l al-mudari', what is the only letter that we change the haraka for? The first one only. Same letters, same harakat for all the letters except the first one. The fi'l al-mudari' is going to be yamna'u. You just change the first one to yumna'u. Yansuru, yunsaru. Yaksiru, yuksaru. So the same concept about the passive verb, the fi'l al-majhul, can be applied to the present tense verb. This is not only limited to the fi'l al-madi. And you find this on page 45 of the book. You see where the book says present tense passive verbs, al-mudari' al-majhul. These are the passive verbs that we can make. And remember, the passive verbs are found in the Quran in many, many verses. Can you give me an example of fi'l majhul in the Quran? Any examples on your mind? Mudara or madi? قتل أصحاب الأخدود. قتل, what pattern is it following? فعل. And what's فعل? It's madi first of all, and it's passive. The Ashabul Ukhdud were killed. The people of the trench were killed. It's not saying who the subject is. That's mabni lil majhul. That's a passive verb. Any other example from the Quran? Have you heard the verse about the Arab man getting a female daughter and he is so upset? The Quran says, وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى. And when they are given the news, بُشِّرَ. See, بَشَّرَ is the past tense verb, meaning to give someone news. بُشِّرَ, if he is given the news, it becomes passive. وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ. قُرِئَ الْقُرْآن. Analyze the word قُرِئَ. What is it? فُعِلَ. What does it mean? If the Quran is recited on them, passive. Whenever you see the form فُعِلَ, قُرِئَ, بُشِّرَ, مُنِعَ, know this is a passive verb. And that's the meaning of it. وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا. And there are some other examples in the Holy Quran. بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. Yes. It was killed by which crime that it committed. قُتِلَتْ is a passive verb. So passive verbs we have for madi and mudari. And you will find this on page 45 of the book. Any question on that? Okay. So when it comes to the passive verb, we've covered the past, the present. Question: do we have in Arabic the passive verb for fi'l al-amr, for the imperative, for the command? Can it be passive? See, with the madi, yes, it can be. The door was broken, right? You could say it was broken, and you don't tell us what the subject is. Kusira al-bab. Who broke it? I don't know. The door was broken. Who's the subject? It's not stated. With the present, it's conceivable. The door is being broken. Tuksaru al-bab. But for the amr, for the command, for the imperative, can you think of the passive as well? How? Give me an example.
They should do.
Exactly. They should. It should be done. Now, it should be done in Arabic. What kind of command is that? What do we need in the beginning of the verb to make the command third person? The letter lam. Remember the L, the commanding L, the imperative L? Because the fi'l al-amr in its original form, it has to be in which person? In its original form. It has to be second person because you're giving a command. Drink, eat, stand up, sit. Right? So it has to be in the second person. When it's in the second person, is it possible to make it passive? No. How are you going to make it passive? You're talking to someone. It's not conceivable to make it passive. Cannot be majhul. But if you're using the L to issue a command in the third person, then yes, it can be majhul. So based on what you know about the L, which we've studied, and also the passive for madi and mudari, give me an example of a passive verb fi'l amr with the lam. See, liya'kul. Ya'kul is not passive. It's an active verb, eat. He should eat. We're talking about passive. It should be eaten. Yes, liyumna'a. What does liyumna'a mean? Let's analyze this. See, Arabic is very rich and complex. Analyze every letter. Liyumna'a. Liyumna'a. What is this L over here?
For amr.
For the command. Which person command? Third person, remember. It only comes with the third person. They should. Yumna'a means, what does yumna'a mean? It is prevented. No, it's in the present, so it is prevented. So combine these two. It is prevented, and you're issuing a command. How would you say that in English? It should be prevented. Let's say you're sitting in your boardroom, and then somebody is coming and disturbing you. Right? And you want to issue a command that somebody should stop him. Somebody should prevent him. You say, لِيُمْنَعَ الرَّجُلُ, from distracting us. Let the man be prevented. See, it's passive. Let him be prevented. We're not saying who should prevent him. The point is, I want somebody to prevent him. That's the meaning of لِيُمْنَعَ. لِيُشْرَبْ هَذَا الْمَاء. This water should be drunk. لِيُؤْكَلْ هَذَا الطَّعَامِ. This food should be eaten. So now you're issuing a command in the third person, but it's also passive. Now this command, which is passive, can only come with which verb? Yes, this will give the meaning of the amr. But you're attaching it to either the mudari' or the past. Which one of these can it be issued? Only the present. Because it doesn't make sense to issue a command in the passive form for the past. How would you say that? It only makes sense in the present. So that's why this lam al-amr, which is in the third person, if you want to attach it to a verb, it has to be a present tense verb. It cannot be a past tense verb. You cannot issue a command in the past tense. Right? So it can only be attached to a present tense verb. We gave an example of this from the Quran in the active form, of course. لِيَعْبُدُوا فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ فَلْيَعْبُدُوا. What's فَلْيَعْبُدُوا? Then they should worship. Okay, question now. Based on what we've discussed. So we have لِيَعْبُدُوا. Of course the Quran has a fa over here. They should, so they should. لِيَعْبُدُوا. Okay, look at the word لِيَعْبُدُوا. What's this L over here? For the command. يَعْبُدُوا. Is this a past verb or a present verb? Present. Question, where's the noon? It should be يَعْبُدُون. Why did we drop it? Not nasib. Remember, this is a command. What does a command do to a verb? Yeah, why is it drop the N? It's in which state? It's not marfu' jazm. Remember majzoom? A command makes the verb majzoom, so you drop the N. And remember, this alif is just extra. Remember, it's not part of the word. It was يَعْبُدُون, but because of the command, we drop the noon. Okay. لِيَعْبُدُوا means then they should worship. Transform this into a passive verb. لِيُعْبَدْ. لِيُعْبَدْ. Brother, what does لِيُعْبَدْ mean? Translate that into English. What's the close translation? He should be worshipped. He should be worshipped. See the passive voice in it? It's passive. Whereas that one, with the one the Quran used, لِيَعْبُدُوا, is active. They should worship the Lord of this house. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. But when you say لِيُعْبَدْ, it became passive. But it's still a present tense verb, and you have the L of the command. So do you all see لِيُعْبَدْ? How we got to لِيُعْبَدْ? Or should I clarify it again? Is it clear to everyone? Okay. So that's how you can switch between past and present and amr, and also between the active and the passive. This you will find on pages 46 to 47. On page 47. ليفعل, ليفعل, ليفعلوا, it gives you all the forms. And then the second line, that's the active one. The second line is, actually no, this is all passive. So on page 47, look at the first two lines. ليفعل, it should be done. ليفعل, they too should be done. ليفعلوا, it's giving you all the forms with two things. First, it's passive, it's not active. It should be, they should be, he should be. Secondly, you have the lam of what? The amr, the command. So when you have a word like this, if I were to ask you identify three things about this word, these are the three things you would identify. First of all, you would say this is a command because of the L. Second, this is a present tense verb. That's 1, 2. Third, this is an active verb. Whereas this one is what type of verb? Passive. And the fourth one, this is plural. See, one word in Arabic, we were able to point out four things about it. Number one, it's a present tense verb. Number two, it has a command, third person command, lam al-amr. Number three, it's active, whereas this one is passive. Number four, it's plural. ليعبد, ليعبدوا, ليعبدا. You can take all the forms, right? All the 14 forms that we talked about. لنعبد, we should worship. Now if I say the following, identify the four things about it that we just mentioned. لنحترم. لنحترم. Identify four things about this. When you identify the four things, you'll know the meaning. Do you know the meaning of ihtiram in Arabic? What does it mean? Respect. So we know the general idea here is respect, but we don't know exactly what it's saying. If you identify the four things, you'll know the exact meaning. So look at the form, based on what we studied. Tell me what four things do you notice about this? Number one, you have a fi'al amr. That means it's a command. So keep that in mind. What type of command though? Second person or third person? It's a third person, right? So you have that, they should. Okay. Second thing about this verb.
Present, passive.
It's present. How did you know it's present and it's not past? It's mudari. It's following that form of yuf'al, yaf'al. See, whenever you have that noon in the beginning, the ya, the noon, the alif, the ta, that's a sign of mudari. It cannot be a past. The second clue over here, the lam al-amr can only attach to which type of verbs? Only present tense verbs. Because how do you issue a command in the past? It doesn't work. It's impossible. So now you know this is mudari. Okay, that's the second thing that we were able to identify. The third thing about this verb.
There's that noon, which is jama. So it's
That noon. Exactly, that noon in the beginning of the fi'l mudari, it means what?
all of us.
We. Right? That's noon for we. نأكل, نشرب, نحترم. So that's the third thing that you identified. That noon over here. There's one thing left. Is this active or passive? How do you know it's passive? Show me.
Because of that sukoon of the ha and the mim. There's no present.
This sukoon or that sukoon? Well, that sukoon is there. See? Yamna. Still there. Look, this is active. This is active. And this is passive. What do you notice about them that's different? They're identical in every aspect except one little thing. Dhamma. Dhamma on the first letter. Here, that first letter, the L, don't include it part of the word. That's an extra L that we added for the command. So the word starts from here. Is it looking like this one or like that one? It's looking like this one. So it's passive. لنحترم. Right? لنحترم. By having that dhamma over there, you know you're given the form of the passive. So now you know 4 things about this. Now tell me, sister, knowing these 4 things, that there's a command, it's mudari', it means we, and it's passive. And the meaning of the word ihtiram is respect. Right. Translate this into English now.
We should respect. Right?
See, we should respect, is that active or passive? We should respect. Is that an active verb or it's a passive verb?
Active.
That's an active. Whereas we have which form here? Passive. So make exactly what you said, just make it passive.
They should be respected.
We should be respect. Oh, I don't know.
We should be, yeah, you said it, just finish it. We should be respected.
Oh, respect.
So that's how you make it passive. See, respecting, it's still active because you're doing the verb. It's known who the subject is. Passive means an act was done on it. It was broken. He was respected. Right? And so on and so forth. So now that you know that this is passive, you know the meaning of the sentence. We should be respected. We ought to be respected. You're issuing a command. We ought to. We should be. It's we from that noon. And it's passive. You see all these in one word? Look at the richness and the complexity of the Arabic language. All these, just one word. Really. Yes.
So when it becomes passive like this, like with the previous example of liya'bad, it comes back on itself. So Quranically, liya'bad will probably only be used by Allah.
Yes, exactly. Yu'bad. Well, I could say liyu'bad Allah. Allah should be. Nu'bad can be stated by Allah. Or u'bad can be stated by Allah. Okay, look at this word here. Tell me what it means. Li u'bad. Li u'badu.
I should be.
U'badu. What does it mean? I should be worshipped.
Or la'abaduni.
Li'a'buduni, that's not a correct form. Either you issue a command, u'buduni, just worship me. That's a command. But if you want to issue a command in the third person passive, it would be li'u'bad. Li'u'bad, I should be worshipped. Right? The lam is the command. U'bad, that O is ana, me. And u'bad is following the passive. Li'u'bad. Abada yu'badu. Right? What's the difference between ya'budu and yu'badu? Let's write this. Ya'budu, and then you have yu'badu. What's the difference between these two? Exactly, active and passive. Ya'budu means he worships. Yu'badu means he's worshipped. That's the difference between the active and the passive. And remember the sign. The only difference is what? The fatha becomes a dhamma in the beginning. That's how you know this is a passive verb in Arabic. Yes, brother.
So is this how the verse was made? Lam yalid wa lam yulad?
Yes, lam yalid. Good example. Let's write this example here. Lam yalid. Lam negates. From Arabic grammar you might remember this. Lam yalid. What does yalid mean? He doesn't give birth. It's active. God doesn't give birth to anyone. Then, وَلَمْ يُولَدْ.
He's not given birth to.
He's not given birth to. Now this is a different form. It's a little bit more complex, so I didn't mention it. But this is a passive verb. Yulad, given birth to. Meaning no one gave birth to God. That's the idea. He doesn't give birth, nor is he born in English. Because born really is passive or active? It's passive, right? It's not an active. Birth is active, giving birth. But born, I was born on so-and-so day. That's passive. I was born. So yulad means born. He was given birth to clarify it further. So this is on page 41. Now, another discussion on page, this is on page 47. Another discussion the author mentions on page 47, which is very important in the Arabic language, but because of its complexity, I will just keep it at a very basic level. In every language, even in English, we have transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Can someone tell us the difference between a transitive verb and an intransitive verb? What do we call them in Arabic? Lazim and muta'addi. So this is on page 47. Can someone tell us what the difference is between these two verbs?
One gets a subject, another one not.
Not a subject. Object.
Oh, sorry.
The difference between the intransitive and the transitive verb is that when it comes to the intransitive verb, the intransitive verb takes an object or does not take an object?
Does not.
Does not take an object. Whereas a transitive verb, most verbs are transitive verbs, they take an object. Example, hit. Does that take an object?
Sure. Yes.
Must it take an object? Must. Hit what? Can't hit nothing. You have to hit something. So it has to take an object. He hit what? He hit the door, he hit somebody, he hit the desk. What did he hit? You don't have hit just floating in the air like that. So that's a transitive verb. In Arabic we call this muta'addi. It takes a direct object. Drink. Does that take an object necessarily?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Drink what? You don't have drinking nothing. You have to drink something. Milk, Coke, water, something. Eat. Muta'addi. These are all transitive verbs. So a transitive verb, which in Arabic we call muta'addi, takes an object. It requires a maf'ul. Most verbs are like that, by the way. Okay. We have also intransitive verbs, which we call in Arabic lazim. They don't take an object. Can you give me an example in English? Sleep. Smile. Do you need an object? Smile something? No. Sleep something? No. Left. He left. Examine this phrase in English. He left. Do you need an object? He left. I don't need an object. All these verbs that don't need an object, we call them lazim. Nama. Shabi'a. He became full in Arabic. These are all intransitive verbs. They don't need a direct object. They have a full meaning in and of themselves. They don't need any maf'ul. Okay. Any question about this distinction? Is it clear? We have this in English, right? Just the takeaway point from this, any verb that needs an object necessarily to make sense. The difference between hit and sleep is that when it comes to sleep, you don't need any object. You're sleeping. That's it. End of sentence. But when you say hit and you stop, you will necessarily get a follow-up question. What did he hit? Did he hit the ball? Did he hit the door? Did he hit somebody? Hitting is a verb that needs an object. You don't have just hitting. Whereas sleeping, no, it's in itself a verb, a full verb that does not need an object. Lazim, muta'addi. Is this clear, this distinction between the lazim and the muta'addi, the transitive and the intransitive? Okay. Having said that, if I want to say Zayd went, Zayd left, how would I say it in Arabic? ذهب زيد. ذهب زيد. ذهب is a past tense verb, زيد is your subject. Question, ذهب, is it transitive or intransitive? Is it lazim, muta'addi? Does it need an object or no? It's intransitive. Does it need an object?
No.
No, he left, he went. He went. Where is Zayd? He went. He left. Maybe left is a better English translation. Maybe went, you could say, well, where did he go to? Went to where? He left. ذهب زيد, he left. Zayd traveled. Right? Okay. Now, if you want to make this type of verb, which is transitive or intransitive? Transitive or intransitive?
This intransitive.
Yeah, intransitive. If you want to make a verb that does not take an object, it's an intransitive verb. If you want to make it passive, how do you make it? Help me how to make this passive. Okay, so ذهب is the form that we're going to follow. Remember? منع, منع, ذهب, ذهب. Okay. ذهب is going to be your what? Your passive verb. Now you're going to delete the subject. Why? Because it's passive. But here's the rule in Arabic. Whenever you have a verb that's intransitive and you make it passive like that, you need to have a preposition to give it meaning and to link it, as they say. Usually, the most common preposition that is used with these intransitive verbs that are converted to passive is the letter ba. ذهب بزيد. What does ذهب بزيد mean? See, ذهب زيد, he went, he left. ذهب بزيد. When you make that passive, what does it mean?
Zayd was begone?
Yes. He was made to leave. Zayd was begone. He was taken. Either you go, that's the active, or somebody takes you. You're taken. That's the passive. But in order to say that in Arabic, you need the ba. ذهب به, ذهب بزيد. You need to state that ba only with which type of verbs? Intransitive. If the verb is lazim and you want to have it take an object, it has to be with a preposition like the ba. Zayd was taken. Because now you've actually given an object to the verb. Who's Zayd over here, really? He was taken. Zayd was taken. They took him. See? He has the meaning of the object. Let me give you another example. I'll write this on the board. Tell me, based on this, what this means. ذهب بكتاب. Study it carefully. Look at the verb ذهب. What form is it? Say that again. Yeah. That's passive. Is it past or present? It's past. Because the present would be يذهب. Okay, so that's passive. Then what do you notice here? That's the first question. The second question, what type of verb is it? Is it transitive or intransitive? It's intransitive. It's a type of verb that doesn't necessarily need an object. So if I say ذهب, which means to go, went, left, بكتاب, and I have this ba over here, which is a preposition that links the intransitive verb to an object. What is now the meaning of this sentence? The book was taken. Can you simplify this using a transitive verb? The book was taken. One way to say is ذهب بكتاب, a book was taken. Another way to say is what? It's active. عفوا, it's transitive. It's متعدي. Take a book. How would you say that in Arabic? أخذ. Exactly. You could also say أخذ الكتاب. Look at these two. What's the difference between them? Do you know أخذ in Arabic? To take something. That's the meaning of أخذ. Like to take something. We have the verb ذهب, and we have the verb أخذ. أخذ means to take, grab something, like to grab something by your hand and take it. أخذ, grab something, take something. Is that transitive? It needs an object, or it's intransitive, it doesn't need an object?
Transitive, it needs an object.
Exactly. Take what? So you find that the word أخذ is intransitive. What about ذهب? Left, he left.
Yeah.
عفوا, this is transitive, I'm sorry. This is transitive. What about ذهب? Intransitive. Which means, does it need an object or no? No. Having said that, look at these two statements. Because أخذ is a transitive verb that can take an object, if you make it passive, just say أخذ الكتاب. The book was taken. Did I need any preposition here? Why not? Because the verb is transitive, it takes an object, you don't need the help of a preposition. Just say أخذ الكتاب. The book was taken. No need for any preposition here. Because the verb is transitive. It takes an object, so you convert it to passive, and you say the book was taken. Was grabbed by somebody. Yes.
So, would this be an example of the Quran when Allah says, وَأُشْرِبُوا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ?
وَأُشْرِبُوا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. Yes. They were made to love the ajal in their hearts. Yeah. Has the meaning of drink as well. Like when you drink something, their hearts were made to drink the love of the ajal. Yes. Ushribu is a passive verb.
And we'll follow this, the intransitive. It's transitive.
No, ushriba is transitive. That's why you have wa ushribu.
You don't have what.
What's that?
Oh, over here.
You ashrabu, wow is
Wa ushribuhum. Yes, they were made. Wa ushriba al-ma. You could say ushriba al-ma.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Ushriba, because it takes an object. You don't need any ba over here. Ushrib al-ma. Yes, that's fine. Because sharaba is what? Transitive or intransitive? Transitive. Drink something, so you don't need any preposition. Yeah, follows the same rule. So now did everyone see akhadha and how we made it ukhidha al-kitabu? We made it passive. Akhadha, he took the book. Make it passive, the book was taken. Now, ukhidha, is that a transitive verb? It needs an object, or intransitive verb doesn't need an object? Transitive needs an object. Since it needs an object, it doesn't need the help of a preposition because it can take an object. It can take the object in meaning. Now look at this verb here. ذهب, which means left, went. Is that a transitive verb that needs an object, or it's an intransitive verb that doesn't need an object? It's an intransitive verb that doesn't need an object, right? You left. If you want to make a verb like that passive, you need the help of what? Of a preposition like the ba, to make it passive. So ذهب means he left, right? If you want to say he was taken to leave, he was made leaving, you would say ذهب, or the book we're talking about here. ذهب بكتاب. The book was taken. So ذهب زيد, he left. If you want to say they took him, you would say ذهب به, ذهب بزيد.
What if it's a ذهب به?
ذهب به. ذهب به means he took him. Same idea. Because ذهب doesn't take an object, if you want to give it an object, you need the help of the ba. This doesn't only apply for the passive, it's also on the active. It's also on the active.
ذهب بسمعه.
Yes, ذهب بسمعهم. That's another example. Let's write this. ذهب. Look at the sentence here to get this idea of the intransitive and the transitive. ذهب, is that active or passive? Active. So we're dealing with a normal active word. ذهب علي. If I were to say ذهب علي and stop, what would that mean? Ali left. If I want to say Ali took Zayd, he didn't leave. He took Zayd and made him leave. See, I would say ذهب علي, but I can't say Zaydan because this ذهب is intransitive. It says I'm unable to take an object. So if you need me to take an object, if you want to say Ali took Zayd and made him to leave, then you have to give a ba over here. ذهب علي بزيد. And this becomes majroor because of the ba. Why did we put that ba? ذهب علي بزيد. Why did we put the ba? Why did we need the preposition here?
Because it's
It's the
transitive word, which means
ذهب is intransitive or
intransitive.
transitive?
Intransitive. It's transitive.
Which one is it?
Intransitive.
left. Who left? So it's transitive. It needs.
Zayd left. ذهب زيد.
Yeah. So if you have Zayd left, then it is transitive, though, isn't it? Because ذهب alone is not left. It would be. But if you have ذهب,
No, it doesn't say
No, in its original meaning.
right?
ذهب زيد. ذهب. Is it transitive? It definitely needs an object? No, it doesn't need an object. He left and it's a complete sentence. Zayd left. ذهب زيد. Is that transitive or intransitive?
You left to home, then it's
Yeah.
transitive.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's transitive because if you say just ذهب, that's not sufficient. You need.
No.
Zayd left.
Sentence is complete.
I asked you, sister, where's Zayd? The answer is Zayd left. Is that a full sentence?
Yeah.
So then is it transitive or intransitive?
Intransitive.
Intransitive. Does it need an object?
No.
Can I just say he left? He slept. Is that transitive or transitive?
Intransitive.
Intransitive, right? Okay. Because it's intransitive, the verb is telling you I can or cannot take an object.
Cannot.
If it's intransitive, that means the verb is saying, can I take an object? Like eat, drink, or I cannot take an object.
Intransitive, you don't.
I cannot. Not just don't, I can't.
Right.
Right? The verb says, I can't take an object. Okay, is that clear so far? What if I come back, let's make this a theoretical argument with the verb. What if I come back and tell the verb, look, it's not up to you. You're gonna have to take an object who's Zayd because Ali's gonna make Zayd to leave. I'll force you to take an object, ذهب. ذهب will say fine. In that case, I can't do it myself and take the object. What do I need?
Ba.
I need the ba. Give me a preposition and I'll be happy to take an object. That's why we added the ba here. Because ذهب is a lazim verb. It's an intransitive verb. So it cannot take an object directly like شرب علي الماء. It cannot do that. It needs a preposition to take an object. So if you say ذهب علي and stop, we're good. No need to do anything. He left. But if you want to say Ali made Zayd to leave, then you would have to say ذهب علي بزيد. The Quran says ذهب الله بسمعهم or بنورهم. You see that? Now if I want to make this, now is this active or passive? ذهب علي بزيد. Does everyone agree? Is this active or passive?
It's pretty active.
Active, ذهب, active. He left. He made him to leave. If I want to make this passive, first of all, I need to delete what? The safa'il, subject, because passive means it was done. You don't have the subject. ذهب بزيد. Zayd was made to leave. How do you make this passive? The fi'l al-madi. We studied that last week. How do you make this passive? Make this a dhamma. Make this a kasra. ذهب بزيد. Zayd was made to leave. He was taken, basically. Is this clear? I know it might be a little bit complicated, but if you study it, it makes sense. Let me give you one other example here. We're studying أفعال لازمة. أكل is متعدي. It's a transitive verb. Okay. Have you heard in Arabic the word marra? What does it mean? Pass. Marra. What does this shadda mean?
Twice.
Means twice. So originally it was ma. Oops, no, not like this. Marara. That's how it was, marara. But then because we combined the two and we put a shadda, it became marra. Marra, to pass. Is that a transitive verb or intransitive? Does it need an object or no?
No.
Does it need an object necessarily? No. Passed. The boy passed by here. Doesn't need an object. Does passing need an object?
Not like would you passed, who passed? Like, don't you need an object with that?
No, the subject, yes. Zayd passed.
Right.
But what did he pass? Who cares what he passed? He just passed by here. Right? Doesn't need an object, a direct object. Okay, marra al-waladu. Marra al-waladu. What does this mean?
The boy passed.
The boy passed. Marra al-waladu. The boy passed.
The cat passed.
Okay. Now, if I want to say, I passed by so-and-so person, what do I say?
Marartu bi.
Marartu bihi. What does this mean? I passed by him. Marartu bihi. You can't say marartuhu. Why not? Because it doesn't take a direct object. You can't say marartuhu like darabtuhu. You could say darabtuhu. What does darabtuhu mean? I hit him. But why can't you say marartuhu?
Because it's intransitive.
Because it doesn't take an object. So if you want to pass by somebody and give an object, you need the help of the ba preposition. Marartu bihi. Marartu bihi. Marartu bihi. Now why do I say marartu? It's because the original has two R's. So if you have a letter after it here, it's going to go back to its original form. You don't say marra to bihi, you say marartu bihi, but you don't need to know that for now. Just to give you an idea of why, what happened. How come marra changed into marartu? Do you see why we needed marartu bihi, the ba over there? So summarize it for me. Why did we need that ba there? Darabtuhu, we didn't need any ba. I hit him. Daraba Aliyun Zaydan. Ali hit Zayd. Daraba Zaydan. He hit Zayd. I didn't need any ba. But when it comes to pass, marartu bi'aliyin. I passed by Ali. Marartu bihi. I passed by him. Why do I need that ba? Summarize this for me.
Because that verb can't.
Stand on its own.
Yes, continue.
Because that verb can't take an object, so you gotta link it.
Exactly. The verb marra, right, is an intransitive verb. It doesn't take an object like daraba because it gives a full meaning on its own. He passed. End of sentence. So if you want to give it an object, you need a link, which is the preposition ba. That's why you don't need to say daraba bihi. It gives a different meaning. But if you say that, you could just say darabahu. You just hit him. Because daraba takes an object. Whereas these words, dhahaba, does not take an object. So this is the difference between the transitive and the intransitive. Any questions on this? Is the concept clear? I know it needs work and practice, but is the concept clear?
Yeah.
Is there anything unclear about this? We can clarify it. Any vagueness anywhere?
No, I just wanted to ask, when it becomes from transitive to intransitive, the fa'il goes. Or is it the maf'ul bihi?
No, the maf'ul bihi is the one that makes a difference, not the fa'il. Look at this sentence. ذهب, not ذهب, ذهب.
Ali.
ذهب علي بزيد. What's Ali over here? It's your fa'il.
Fa'il.
I could have the fa'il. Yes, if you make something passive, obviously the fa'il is going to go because it's passive. You're deleting who the subject is. That's the meaning of majhul. That's the meaning of the passive. But the transitive and intransitive verbs both take fa'il. The question is the maf'ul. The intransitive verb says, I can take a maf'ul only with the help of the ba. The transitive verb says, no, I can take a maf'ul directly. I don't need any intermediary here. No qualifier. I could do it directly. Any questions? Yes, sister.
Over time, will you be able to identify if a verb is transitive or intransitive based on the definition? Like you just
Yes,
know it?
over time, by knowing the definition of a word, you can tell most words whether they're transitive and intransitive. Some of it requires linguistic experience, but whenever you have a doubt, the first thing, translate into English. Like the word sleep. The word sleep in English even, does it need an object? It doesn't. So that is a clue, an indicator that this is an intransitive verb. Nama Zaydun. End of discussion. No need for any object. You can add objects to it. He slept on the floor. That's up to you. But it doesn't, and that's why, that's another good example, and we'll end with this. Look at this sentence here. Nama Zaydun. Nama Zaydun. Is this transitive or intransitive? Intransitive. Why? Doesn't need an object. If I wanted to give it an object, and I say he slept on the floor, al-ard, I want to force an object on it. What do I need? Preposition. What would be an appropriate preposition here? He slept with the ground, in the ground, on the ground. What's on in Arabic? On something. Ala. See? Nama Zaydun ala al-ard. Because you gave it an object, really, you had to add what? A preposition. Because Nama says, I cannot take any object unless you give me a preposition, then I'll be happy to take an object. So that's why if you want to say in Arabic, even in English, you can't say, he slept ground. Doesn't make sense because the word sleep cannot take a direct object. It needs a link, which is a preposition. See, this is identical in English and Arabic over here. He slept ground. Doesn't make sense. He slept on the ground. But why did we need on over here? What's the key? Why did I need on in English? Why can't I say he slept ground?
Because it can't take an object.
Exactly. Whereas the word hit, can I say he hit the ground?
Yeah.
Can I say that in English?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Because the word hit is transitive.
And
It can take, yes, it needs an object. So I don't need any preposition. He hit the ground. Right? Any other questions? So study this and we'll give you some practices and we'll continue inshallah. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.